start the recording, so now you are being recorded, bear that in mind. And let me introduce to you today's speakers who are going to bring you a truly fun-filled and active session. So our first speaker is joining us from Brazil, where it is currently the afternoon, and Edna is a Brazilian-based teacher with over 20 years experience in the pre-primary and primary education. She's taught in international schools, language courses, and developed programs to support teachers' classroom performance. And she presents regularly on adapting teaching techniques to make lessons more interactive. She currently works as a professional development consultant at Oxford University Press, but she's also a researcher and a member of a study group in research and continuing teacher education. Our other presenter today is coming to us from the Middle East, and that's Paul Woodfull, where it's probably evening there, so we are covering all bases. And he has been in ELT for many years. He's been with OUP since 2011, but before that, he was an ICT coordinator. He was an IELTS examiner. He worked for the British Council as a teacher trainer. As I say, he's currently based in the Middle East, but he's worked in many, many countries. The days when we could travel. Spain, in the United Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Turkey, and all over the world. And today they are bringing to us a session engaging the youngest, putting a smile on children's faces. So Paul, Edna, could I ask you to switch on? And hi Paul, I will hand over to you. Good luck, and everybody enjoy the session. See you at the break.
Thank you,
Hello,
Sean.
everybody.
Hello, everybody. I'm so happy to be here, Paul.
And me too. Shall we begin, Edna?
Of course. And I was reading the chat box, amazing people from everywhere. I'm so proud of this moment because today we are going to have lots of interesting activities. We are going to share ideas on how to engage with your learners and create more interaction, face-to-face or live online classes, because we are in a world that everybody's working in a different way. Yeah. What else, Paul?
Indeed. Well, we hope that you take away practical ideas to add to your teaching toolkit, wherever you may be. And as I agree, Edna, it's amazing the different places around the world. We've got the world covered. So those are the aims. Let's get on.
Okay, so let me just advise people that this webinar is going to be like a lot of interactive, and sometimes we are going to talk like at the same time. It happens because I want I'm going to tell you something and you want to share something with me, so it happens. It's all about interactions, a little bit disturbing sometimes, but politely disturbing, let's say this way. Yeah, we are not alone, Paul. We have friends. Let's introduce our friends today.
Let's introduce them. Are you ready, guys? Boom. Benny. Tell us about Benny, Edna.
So here we have some characters. They are from our Oxford University Press books, but it does not mean that the activities we are going to present, it's all about the characters. But the characters engage children, so that's why we have decided to use them. Benny is one of my favorite. He likes to register all important moments in his life. So Benny is going to teach us some activities about drawing and writing. Who else, Paul?
Well, we've got Owl from Oxford Owl, but as Edna says, these are examples we hope you can take away regardless of what you're using as textbooks, course materials. We hope you can take away ideas from this session. So don't worry if we're referencing Oxford books or digital resources. The ideas are for you, and they are ideas. But Owl is essentially, Oxford Owl is all about sharing stories. And stories from all around the world. And if you go to the Oxford Owl website, you will find over 130 free ebooks for you to share with your children. But that's another story. Let's move on to Blue Clue, Edna.
Blue Clue. Blue. I think that people can write in the chat box just to show if they are with us, if they know the book that this character is from. Blue Clue, because he loves adventures. He is great at helping friends. So I think we are going to have lots of creative games with Blue Clue.
Mariana, well done. You got it.
Very
Bright
good, very good.
ideas.
Okay, bright ideas,
Wonderful. Yeah,
wonderful.
Roberto, Bianca. Oh, bright ideas. Wonderful. And in our part of the world, I'm in Dubai, in our part of the world, we call it by another name. But
Okay.
don't worry if you don't know the name. Blue Clue is called
Okay.
Oxford Thinkers. Rabia was mentioning, oh, the chat box is moving so quickly. Rabia is mentioning Oxford Discover, so she will know Benny.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
and finally,
If she talks about Oxford Discover, probably she's talking about Gus. She knows Gus.
She must know Gus as well as, oh, sorry, Benny. Yeah, Benny Show and Tell. Oh,
Yes.
of course. Tell us about Gus, Edna.
So Gus likes communicating. He's really talkative. And we know that children likes to talk a lot. So we have to embrace this trait of personality. Finally, we have Tex, one of my favorites. Talk a little bit about Tex. I love this one. Jumping in this conversation, Paul.
Tex, well, he's practical and he always has the right tool to help. And he will introduce in the last part of the webinar, he will introduce the handout and the ideas that you can take away. But if you haven't already made a note of some of them, then you will have a handout at the end to help you refer to those ideas. And we've got lots of ideas in such a short time. So really, Edna, we ought to start, yeah?
Yes, as Murphy said here in the chat box, yes, Gus. So yes, and let's start not with Gus. Benny is going to introduce us some activities. Let's see the next slide, Paul.
Yeah,
What
Benny.
does Benny? Oh, okay, activities. Tell me about the activities. I'm here.
Yeah, he likes to create important moments, and one of the important moments I'd like you, Edna, if you don't mind, to help us with a little drawing dictation. Have you got everybody? Have you got a piece of paper?
I have.
Because
It's
we're
not
going
a
to do a
piece of
drawing.
paper. It is a board. Does it
It's a
work?
board. It's okay. That'll work. Yeah, it's a drawing dictation. And we're looking at receptive to productive skills. By doing drawing dictations with small children, we can get them used to understanding the instructions. We can use graphics as well and some basic reading as well. We'll look at that in a moment. But first, we're going to follow spoken instructions. So, Edna, you can ask me for clarification. But I'm gonna give you a quick dictation. I think we're ready in the chat box as well. People are saying yes, they want to do it too. So if you're ready, shall we do it?
Yes, they are ready. I'm ready. So please instruct us.
Okay, so I'm going to show you the piece of paper, which looks like this. It's landscape. And basically on your landscape, I'd like you to look at the middle of the page. And from the middle down, I'd like you to draw a square. From the middle of your page, in the center, draw a square.
Okay, in the center. Okay.
In the center,
big is it?
But it occupies all the center, so quite a big square. But remember, from the middle down, leave the top half. So from the middle down, draw a square.
Okay. You're going to be proud with my square. Give a look.
That's a lovely. Oh, that's a rectangle, but never mind. It's good.
I have problems with my shape, so not in my case.
What's the difference between a square and a rectangle? We haven't got time, but that's an important thing to clarify with your kids. On the top of your rectangle, or if you're doing this at home, on the top of your square, can you draw a triangle with the top of the triangle almost touching the top of the page? So a triangle on the top of the square, please.
All right.
And once you've got your triangle on the top of the square or the rectangle, in your case, Edna, I'd like you to go back to your square or your rectangle. Ready? Go back to the rectangle. And in the top right-hand side of your rectangle, Edna, draw a square, please, not a rectangle, a square. Top right-hand side of the rectangle, underneath the triangle, and draw another square on the top left-hand side.
Okay.
You got any questions for me, or are you good?
No, by now I'm doing my best to achieve my best square. I want to prove everyone that I can draw a square.
Okay, right. And the square I want you to draw on the left-hand side at the top is the same size as the square you have just drawn.
Okay.
Okay.
I
And
think I
now,
know what you want me to draw here. I was so concentrated with the shapes, but I think I can guess this
okay,
draw.
can I wonder if people in the chat box can guess what I'm dictating? I wonder if we get in the chat box anybody telling us what are you drawing?
Mm.
We'll wait for that. Let's Edna. In the meantime, look at the middle of your rectangle.
Mhm.
Marta says it's a house. Yes.
Oh,
Oh,
but it's a house.
everybody's saying it's a house. Okay, so what do we need for a house? Well, we need the door. Very good, everybody. They've guessed it already.
Yeah.
Edna, could you draw a door underneath
Yeah.
your windows at the top, your squares? So it's a rectangle you want to draw in the middle at the bottom. You got your door. Okay,
Yeah.
so everybody says you're all doing it. That's wonderful. And you all should have something like this, a
Car.
simple house. Yay! Now, what do we think? Edna's got quite a spooky house. It's like yeah, it's a bit like a carnival house, isn't it? Maybe a bit
Yeah.
spooky. The house
Yeah.
of something. So basically, when we're doing drawing dictation, we can work on the shapes that children should know. Bianca says yes, and Feli says I have the same.
You got
Edna's
a
got a building.
building.
Edna's got a building. Yeah, she's into real estate big time. Half of Sao Paulo belongs to her in terms of the architecture. So there we have a simple house. Edna, what else could we do with this? We've
Well,
got steps. One,
when I was a child, every house that I
yeah.
used what was a house, the sun, two or three trees, and an animal like dogs and cats. I always
Okay,
had this on my drawings.
so as Natalia says, we have to have prepositions of place, and we have been using prepositions of place, but now we want to sort of establish a little bit more clearly. For example, to the left of the house we have, and here we can go with those triangles again, one big and one small triangle, plus a couple of rectangles from the bottom of the triangle, close together, and there we establish some trees. Some people have said flowers. Drawing flowers would involve circles. We've got the sun up there. Step number 7, draw a circle above to the right of the roof of the house, or the triangle. And then, of course, to get the sun's effect, we have to draw lines outward, facing outward, from the center of the circle. And there we have step 8. Lovely. Thank you. Part of this says lovely, and that's just the word I was going to use as well. Lovely activity, and something which allows now for creativity, because children can then put in the grass, they can draw their path, they can draw their rivers, and it's unique to each child. And then they can share their pictures and describe their pictures. At the very end, a follow-up activity could be writing about your picture. It could even be telling a story. And we began this simply with, Edna, some shapes.
Yeah, yes, we have shapes, we have many possibilities, and people are giving us amazing ideas about having a fence, a cloud. Great.
Yeah. And we could also do parts of the body, says Irina.
Coloring afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah. We could put a car in the carport next to the house on the right hand side. Amal says they can color and describe the house. Yeah, that's exactly
very good,
what we're getting.
Very good.
And
the next slide, we have a sample that inspired our activity. Would you like to show, Paul?
In a moment, I just wanted to answer Sarisa Andrea saying that it's good to review vocabulary as well. Indeed, indeed it is. So, as you were saying, Edna, tell us about this from Learn With Us.
Yes, yes. So here we have a sample from one of our books that inspired us to have this type of activities. And do not worry, because by the end of this session, you're going to have a handout with a very good website. With this website, you can have some ideas on how to develop some drawing with your children. So an open website, so lots of suggestions today. The idea here is to give you lots of possibilities, even if you are working online or face to face. So this type of activity, you can do it. Another way that we can do the same. Sorry, Paul, you were about to say something.
And I was just about to say I've never been good at drawing, but I think I could draw a dolphin if I followed those instructions. Very simple. Draw 3 triangle shapes for fins and add an eye and you know what? Yeah, because geometry is everywhere, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
So sorry,
Absolutely.
I interrupted you. What's next,
Yeah.
Edna? Tell us.
As we said at the beginning, it is going to happen. No problem. Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
I was about to say that the same way we are doing, we can have some a little bit different when we have like a brainstorm beforehand. Show the next slide, please.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
next slide, we have the possibility of mapping our characters. So we can
Yeah.
decide the boxes with learners, and then they can create like a brainstorm, really, like a mind map with the idea for a character. I don't know why, Paul, but for me,
That's a good
when I
idea.
have
Yeah.
a character, I have a story. I don't know if it happens to you too.
Of course, without the stories need to have characters, and some people like to start with a setting, but most people they start their stories with people, with characters. Tell
Yeah.
us about your character, Edna. It looks
So
interesting.
here I have some ideas, and Paul and I agreed with some information. So next slide, please, Paul. We're not going to guess here. So we
Okay, let's have a look.
invented,
Yeah.
yes, we invented a story about my best monster friend. So it's
Your
all
best
about my
monster
best
friend.
monster friend. And we invented that the name of our monster is Plushy. Yes. So let me see. Now,
Plushy
Paul, that we
monster.
have those piece of information, I'm going to challenge you to use your paper and try to draw this very, very good, Paul, this very best monster friend. So please,
Okay.
here in your monster, I want you to think of a monster that has got 3 eyes. So she or he has got 3 eyes. But she or he hasn't got any hair. Oh my, a monster without any hair. And he or she is posing for photos right now. Finally, he or she, oh my God, is a she. She is not wearing her glasses today. Come on, a monster with 3 eyes and wearing glasses. I mean, not today. Maybe the glasses are on the floor. Paul, I know that you have your masterpiece with you. I know that you have just done an amazing best friend monster. Can you show us? Show your monster. Show your monster. He's absolutely centrated, and I'm here
Oh,
asking.
my monster. Here's my monster.
I love
Yeah.
that. I love.
And
Oh, let me see the legs.
I hope
Oh,
you can see. I
yourself
hope you
with
can
the
see the
picture.
glasses are on the chest of drawers next to the monster. Can you see that?
That's
She's not
amazing.
wearing her glasses.
Not wearing her glasses today. Very cool. So this is the
Yeah.
difference. We have piece of information that we can agree with the children, and then we can work all together. I have my monster in the next slide. Can you show us?
Oh
Amazing.
wow.
Did you like mine?
Yeah, I like the teeth. That's the 3 eyes. We got it. The green thing is like a nose, I think. Yes.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
put a little dot for my nose, but yeah, wonderful. And every child will do that. They will choose the nose. They will choose. It's cute, isn't it? Radostina says. Haris
Yes.
says, well done.
And
Freehand
they
drawing is a
would,
nice
and they would
activity.
give
Yes.
sorry to interrupt, but they would give us some ideas like why plushie? Yeah, we can discuss names with them. What does
Yes,
plushie
we
care
could.
about? So we can ask questions about this cute monster. Yeah, and of
Yeah.
course, the course book you are using, you can have this type of activities all the time that you want to develop vocabulary, that you want to have some fun, that you want to enjoy with the.
And Edna, we can also talk about well-being because it's a very important thing. Plushie could tell us how she does deep breathing to keep herself relaxed and to meditate, perhaps. We could do a lot of things with Plushie, couldn't we?
We can tell
Anything.
stories with plushie. We can
Plushie
invent
could be
stories.
our story monster. Yeah,
Yeah.
indeed. So
Talking about the stories, I know that you have a story for us today. Come on, come on. You do
I
have.
do actually, yes. And thank you for reminding me because I'd forgotten completely. Oxford Owl website was about stories, and the Owl has reminded us, as you did, Edna, that we're going to look at a short digital clip of a story. And before we do, everybody, what is the name of this story? You're going to see a very short clip in a minute. Sean, I hope you're there for the video. We will ask you the two questions at the end of the clip. What's the name of the story and who are the main characters? So if we're ready, let's have it's a very short video clip. Let's watch it. What's the name of
Chapter 1.
Go.
It is London in 1872. And this is Mr. Phileas Fogg's house. 2nd of October, 1872. Mr. Phileas Fogg is an English gentleman. He lives in London. He hasn't got a wife or children, but he has got a French servant, Passepartout. Fogg goes to his club every day. He eats at his club at 12 o'clock. In the afternoon, he reads there. In the evening, he eats there again. Then he talks with his friends. And at midnight, he goes home. Passepartout is happy. He wants a quiet job.
Mr. Fogg's day. 8 o'clock. Gets up. 8:23. Breakfast. 9:37. Gets ready. 11:30. Goes to club. Midnight. Goes home.
We have it. Thank you very much, Sean.
Paul, I can't hear you. Now I can. Can you say that again?
Yes, I was saying thank you, Sean, for the video. Can you hear me now? Good. Dr. Mohammed was saying we teach this story. We've been teaching the story for a long time. Tina, around the world in 80 days, Phileas Fogg and Passepartout. Tina obviously knows the story. Susanna saying Oxford graded readers. Yes, Susanna, they are. And I was showing you a clip on my screen of the Oxford Learners Bookshelf. Carmen asks, is it a free? It's not, you have to buy it. But I'm sure that graded readers, if you're using graded readers of some sort or another, you don't need the video clip. This is just an extra to show you online the story. You could read it. All you need is the reader. It's a great story, Dominica. You're right. It's around the world in 80 days. And one of the reasons I chose this story is because extensive reading is one of the greatest ways of getting our kids to improve their English. And extensive reading is not in the classroom, it's done outside, but we need to set it up. So I'm sure that to set up a story like this, a short clip like that would help. Otherwise, we need to have some graphic help. We need to show them the book, and we need to ask them at the beginning, what's the name of the story? What do you think is going to happen in the story? And who are the characters, and when did this story happen? So we need to set up the story to get their interest. And one of the things we really need to do before they start reading the story, is to ask them about the 1870s. Questions like, what was transport like in 1870? If they're in grade 4, grade 5, grade 6, then we can ask them to do a quick bit of research on the internet and find out about transport or communication in the 1870s. A little mini project. And then when they're reading the story, we could always look at characters, as Edna showed us, her monster. Lovely character there, plushie. Yeah. We could ask questions, and we could get the kids to ask each other questions as they're reading. So they come back into class, and we've set them a task, read as much as you want, but don't go any further than chapter 1. And, one of the kind of questions we could ask is from the text. Is he an English gentleman? And the answer's there. We know he is. But we could also ask questions or encourage our students to ask questions, and the answers are not necessarily in the text. For example, what does he eat for breakfast? Edna, what do you think? It's not in the text. What do you think he eats for breakfast?
No. I saw some, there were some pictures. I was observing the pictures, and I think that, maybe sausage, mushrooms, I'm not sure.
Okay. But I don't remember reading that. What about his favorite color?
Yeah, purple. I think purple because of the picture.
Okay, but we don't know. And the main point about this sort of a question is it encourages children to use the language to ask questions that they themselves have generated. And when we're using the language like that, then we are practicing language as well as enjoying the story. So that's what we call extensive. Rania says purple as well because of the pictures.
He agrees with me, yeah.
Dinara says English breakfast, perhaps. Yes, well, he's an English gentleman. In 1870, he probably would eat an English breakfast rather than a continental. Dr. Mohammed, and the big question, what is the moral of the story? That would be a great follow-up at the end after they've read the story. But before we get to the moral, we've got other things we can do, such as content language integrated learning, opportunities for geography. I can see Brazil in the middle of the map here, Edna, right in the center. Whereas I'm up there towards the right hand, middle of the right hand. I'm up there, in the northern hemisphere. We're there. But as Phineas Fogg is traveling around the world, we could ask our students to look at the countries and the cities and the places where he goes. And we can ask them to do, again, some research project work where they evaluate, after they've done their reading, they evaluate comparisons between population sizes, between what the country produces, anything that they're interested in that is generated from around the world in 80 days. So extensive reading we can take it into the classroom, we can comment on it, we can set up activities, and research work, as we know, it's so important now that our grade 3, 4, 5s are able to do Google searches, are able to understand, evaluate information, and then come to a synthesis about it. Find out, Marta says, find out facts about each country. But, you know, in their groups, they could choose the countries they wish to research. And that's using the story as a springboard for further work through using English, through English, research through English, and the end product being English. Okay, moving on to intensive reading, what we can do online, what we can do face-to-face. We have here, what is it, Edna? What can you see on the screen?
Yeah, I think I can see some, of course, if I some rhyming words and some building blocks like verses or stanza. Yeah. So if you ask me what, this is a poem for me because types of characteristics like that.
It's a poem. Okay, so the answer, you've answered the question, what genre is it? Is the poem in any order or is it in a correct order? What do you think is the
No, it is mixed
situation?
up. Yeah, it's your
mixed
activity.
Up.
Yeah, the activity that you like, because you always like to, whoa, now find out the story. I know that you're Paul.
Okay, so before we do the activity, and I'll make it a little bit bigger so we can all do the activity. Before we do it, do you have any idea of a title? What's the name of the poem?
So let's give some seconds and then people can write in the chat box the name for this poem.
What do you think is the name? We've got some,
yes,
a lot of people. Who is the author? That's a good question. We've got
people are writing the type of genre, yeah.
People still putting the word poem in. I don't think we're getting the name yet. The
no,
title.
not yet.
Anastasia, sorry, it says poor book. Nice.
Poor book.
Arati, catastrophe.
Oh, Marjorie said alliteration. This is deep.
Wow. This is great. Homework troubles. Boy and teacher. Christiana, that's a question for the moderators. It's poo. Moderators will pick up on your question. My poor old book. What's the matter, dear boy? Okay, lots of lovely ideas coming through.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna put it up anyway. It's called All in a Rage.
I love that.
And if you don't know what a rage is, have a look at the picture. Pictures are very useful, as we know. Keep your hands clean. That's an interesting one. Keep your hands clean. Lesia, that's an interesting one. I love it. What's the matter? Sean, a selfie, Paul. Ah, Sean, you know me too well. That's in the morning when I wake up, before I have a coffee. Yeah. So here we have I put this together for you, Edna, because you asked me for a poem, didn't you?
Yeah, for sure.
So this is for you, and because it's for you, I'm going to ask you to order it.
Thank you. Very nice gift.
Anytime.
I have to
when
order,
you've
but I'm
ordered
not
it,
I'm not alone. I'm going to ask for participants to help me. So please write in the chat box the order of this poem.
Esther is already helping you with D as the first one. Thank you, Esther. Annie, pictures help to describe feelings. Indeed, they do, which is why I chose the rage of King Kong. DCAB. Oh, DCAB, we've got DCAB, I think the majority. Marta says DCBA. Not so sure about DCBA, Marta. I think the majority, and I always go with the majority when I'm in the class, asking for their ideas. We seem to have, we have DCBA. So without further ado, Edno, let's read it together, shall we?
Yes, very good. Can I be the student?
You can be, yeah, you can be he, and I'll be the
Okay.
teacher.
Okay, very good. I'm going to show my talent here about reading and a little bit of acting here. So should be good. Help, teacher! I've got a big problem.
He shrieked. What's the matter, dear child? Teacher inquired.
I'm all in a rage. My little sister took my book to read. To read, she
She
said.
said.
Apostrophe on this page. With her dirty hands, she pulled, left smudges all over the words. Now I can't read them. What a rage right here, teacher, on this very page.
Oh dear, poor book. Let me see, dear boy. I'm sure I can help you. Let's take a look. Thank you.
So this
Great reading.
wonderful, wonderful. So you see, it's not about only presenting the purpose, but also to have a story behind. So I think that this poem was really clever because we can show children that there is a narrative behind, and we can engage them for some purpose. They are going to help the boy to read the book because somebody did something weird with the book. So very clever poem, Paul.
Thank you. And just before we move on to your smudged book, I'd just like to point out that we need to, with poetry, we do need to use a bit of phonic awareness with the children. We need to make sure they understand the A's and the O's, book and look, rage and page. And that's a fairly simple standard thing we do with poetry that rhymes. With unknown words, interesting, we can ask, especially if they are already in grade 4, possibly grade 3, depending on the ability of your students. But the word poured, for example, I love that. It's ED. And what does that suggest? ED. Well, they would think, I know words that end in ED are regular past forms. So the verb is to pour. I wonder what pour means. And then, of course, we can explain that in English, we have different words for animals' feet. And a paw is a dog's foot. And that's why, if you can imagine a dog running over, you have some books on the floor, a dog comes in from outside and runs over them, then they paw the books and they leave smudges. So that's how we deal with unknown words. Sarah, yes, we are recording the session, don't worry. And of course, just before we move on to your situation with your book, we can also ask the kids to retell, because it's a narrative poem. We can get them to retell the story in their own words. And that is also a useful activity. But back to your book, Edna.
So with an activity like this, maybe we can use our traditional texts from our course book. So this is a very simple activity that I can ask learners to fill in the gap. This is a way to do it. But if I have a very good poem, as Paul has just shown us, we can say like, oh my God, can you help me now? And now I have a task. Now I want to try to figure out because I'm engaged. Can you see that? So we can think like all birds have two what, Paul? All birds have two.
They could have two feet. They could, but I don't know if we call them feet. They have 2 eyes. I'm sure we call them eyes. They have 2 wings.
Yes, very good.
Lots of possibilities.
Lots of possibilities. Thanks for helping the chat box. Amazing. They are completing the text. Amazing, amazing. Very good.
Legs.
Amazing slide. They're doing great. Okay.
It's an eagle. It's an eagle. I wonder, we call their eagle's feet talons.
Yes.
So lots of other vocabulary there. And of course, once the children have worked out on what the gaps may be, we can give them satisfaction by showing them the text.
Yes,
Or
yeah. So the
rather,
purpose here is there is always a way to do what we have been doing online or face to face, but
yeah,
in a more creative way, in a way
yeah.
that learners feel they are part of the process. I want to be there. I want to help teacher. Yeah. And now
And
we
we
are
give
going
them
to
a
talk about,
reason, Edna. We give them a
yeah.
reason for wanting to open the book and check.
That's the point, a reason for. Yeah, we need to look for reasons. Yeah. And actually, we're going to try to look for reasons right now. So, Paul, I have a suggestion.
What's
We are
that?
going to show right now another activity. But what about having half of the activity and then we have a break? And when we come back, we are going to continue this activity. What do you think,
Okay.
Paul? Because
Okay.
I
So
have some crafty activities here.
okay. So tell me, what's the activity, Edna? We've got about 5 minutes before a break, but we can
Yes,
move over.
yes, we can
So
use
what's the
those 5
activity?
minutes. Yes. So the point here
It's
is about engaging learners. We are going to
yeah.
have a crafty activity, one sample, yes, because we do believe that this type of activities, they are fun, they are effective way to engage learners, to put the language at the center of the communication in a
Right.
very good way. Like I'm doing that because there is a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So to do that, please, I'm going to ask you, teachers that are with us here, if you have any piece of paper with you. I
You
have
what?
here, let me see. Oh, yes.
Can I do it, Edna?
Yes, and I'm going
I
to
got my
ask
paper.
Paul to help us. Okay, very good. So please write in the
Okay.
chat box if you have a piece of paper, like simple piece of paper. We have this one, but you can have all types of papers. Yes, thank you, Ronaldo. And okay, very good. So
Right.
very good, very good.
Let's go.
Ready,
What do
ready.
we
All
do?
right.
What do we do?
So Paul, we have only 5 minutes. So Paul,
Yeah.
tell me please, what shape is it? You taught us
What
at the
shape?
beginning of the yes.
This is a rectangle, or if you like,
Okay.
it's landscape.
Okay. But now
Right.
I want a square. How can
You want
I
a square?
transform? Yes, I want to transform this rectangle into a square. How can I do that?
Okay, I think we can fold the paper.
Huh?
So we do that,
Okay.
and we get a triangle.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you, Edna. You taught me this. I had no idea before this. Before we practiced and rehearsed for this session, I had no idea that we could do
Yes.
this. And
So
now I have, yeah, I have to, with my triangle, I have to then take the rest of the page
mm-hmm.
and cut it away. Or I could use scissors, but scissors, depending on the children, could be dangerous.
Yes.
So I cut it away and I get my shape of a, yep. I open it so we have, could be 2 triangles or it could be a square.
Very good. So now I have a square. So,
Yeah.
Paul, how can I make this square a triangle?
Well, we already had a triangle, so we have the triangle.
Very good.
Yes.
By folding. Yes. Very good. So I'm
Right.
going to fold my square in half. All right. But Paul, I want a smaller triangle. How can I do that? Very good. It is time for origami. Somebody wrote in the chat box. Very good. How can I make it smaller?
I make it smaller by folding it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I'm going to fold again to make it smaller. Okay.
Right.
So after folding it, I'm going to ask you kindly, Paul, to fold and unfold. Okay?
Okay. Right.
Wonderful. And now, Paul, we are going to work with this triangle, but we are going to work using this position, right?
Okay. Yep.
So, now, Paul, I want you to fold this a small portion, not that long, of the triangle base up. So it means that I want you to fold this part here at this. Very good, Paul. Very good. I'm going to do here
There we
on
go.
my table because I want to have a very good folding thing here. All right. Very good. And then I fold it here. Now comes the most difficult part of our folding papers or origami, as somebody has mentioned. A boat. By now it seems like a boat. But
It looks like a
we are
sailing boat. Yes.
Yes, Rachel said boat. Not yet, not a boat, not an airplane, but let's see here. And this is really good with children because they want to do, because they want to know, yeah? So now...
And we can ask them, yeah, look, we're getting lots of ideas coming in as well.
Yes, very good. So now we are going to fold the left and the right bottom edges up at the center. So we are going to fold like this. Both parts. Okay?
At the center.
Yes, very good. Oh, thank you, Sean. I forgot to say. People are like, the camera is better now. Thank you. So,
okay,
to fold like this and to
at
fold.
the center.
Very good. So let me do things like this. I'm going to do this on the table because I want to have a good place to fold. Very good. I am here at this position. Yes. Oh, Angela, you are so fast. Oh my God. So
Angela's
now,
got it already, yeah.
we are going to turn this figure. We are going to use this part. Okay, this part. And then we are going to fold the top corner of the head down in the middle. Yes, like this. I'm going to fold just a little. What about you? A little or a lot?
Oh, I've done quite a lot.
Okay, so I'm going to fold just a little because I want a little, but you can decide if it's a little or a lot. Okay, it's up to you. Okay. Do you have markers with you, Paul?
Yes, I do.
So I'm going to bring here my marker. Very good. I'm so happy of this. So I'm going to have here, in my case, a little triangle in the middle.
A little triangle in the middle coming up.
Yes. And I want a very beautiful smile. So I'm going to have a very beautiful smile here. It's not a Batman. It's a nose. Very good. In my case, I want very good. It is a rabbit. I mean, it is a rabbit. We are going to check if it's only a rabbit. But I'm going to have big eyes because I like big eyes. So let me have here big eyes. It's difficult to draw in front of you. Very good, Paul. And I'm going to have little eyes here. And in my case, I want big teeth. Oh, who said hair?
Oh.
Somebody said hair. Yes, okay.
Ah, it looks more like a squirrel, says Iman. Yes, indeed.
Yes.
Yours looks more like a rabbit.
For me, kind of crazy because the position. For me, I have an animal here. And my animal, it is supposed to be a rabbit. And what about you? Do you have a rabbit, or in your case, Paul, you have another name?
I don't know. It could be a monster.
Could be.
But I think because the ears are longer, it's an angry rabbit. And no teeth. It has a smile. I think it's a hare. It's a happy hare.
Okay. So
a
we are
happy
going
hare.
to have a break now. And when we come back, we are going to try to understand the difference between a rabbit and a hare. And then we are going to have a storytelling activity with our origamis. So I think if I were you, I would come back to the second part of this session. What about you, Paul?
And also, I believe in the handout, we have some information on how to do origami, correct?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Right. Yeah. So we'll see you after the break, where we will continue with the rabbit or the hare.
Oh, the suspense. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So as Edna and Paul said, they were at the halfway point. It's time for a quick break. So you've got 15 minutes to get those rabbits origami sorted out. The handout to which Paul and Edna refer we'll send to you at the end. So we've got a 15-minute break. So I make it 10 to 7 my time, which means we're going to start again at about 7:05 my time. I'm in the UK. And while we encourage you to step away from the screen, stretch your legs, go get a drink and so on, we will fill the break time with a video that will show some OUP products, etc. And if you have any questions about what you can see, Paul, can you mute your mic? Sorry, Paul, you did it as I said it. So we'll put on a video now, which will play for most of the break. If you have questions about what you see in the video, then we've got the moderators here to help you, and from time to time you'll see things come up on the screen which will advertise products. All you have to do is press the little cross in the top right corner and that will go away. So go stretch your legs, go get a drink of water. If you're in the UK and it's hot, go stay hydrated, and we'll see you again for part 2 and to find out about the rabbits in about 15 minutes.
My name's Andy and I'm an Educational Services Manager for Oxford University Press ELT. I'd like to introduce you to our new professional development modules. We're aware of the need for teachers to keep up to date with their professional development and the demand on teachers' time. Now, teachers can manage their own development independently in a time and space that's comfortable for them. The modules are self-access and take only 15 to 30 minutes to complete. You'll find them on the Oxford Teachers Club.
A teacher nowadays is a person who is more emphatic and gives support to students, trying to understand how they are coping with distance learning.
What is more demanding, however, is addressing my students' social emotional needs. As a teacher, I felt I had to help them work through those feelings of anxiety, depression, or loneliness in the ways I could afford.
I think it's really nice if teachers make that time to either meet up asynchronously on a Padlet, or make the time to say, look, let's meet for half an hour this week and exchange ideas, or even just have a chat.
And as a teacher, I tried to create an atmosphere of mutual support, understanding. I wanted them to leave their fears and worries behind and just enjoy a new way of learning.
Being able to connect with other people and having that reason to get up in the morning and get yourself sorted in a situation in quarantine, say, where you might not really have the motivation to get out of bed, has been really good for structure and just having that connection with people.
So we've got about 3 minutes left of the break. So time to get your drinks and have a final stretch. I know Paul and Edna are dying to get back with their rabbits and their hares. But so get ready to start again. We've got a couple of minutes. Afnan, there's a video should have just paused on the screen. Maybe you're having trouble with the video. I'm going to flick back to the slides in a moment, so you should be okay with that. Paul, can you just mute your mic for a little while, please? I'll tell you when to come back on again. Thanks. Perfect. Thank you. So Afnan, you should be able to see the slides now. Hopefully, if not, maybe your internet has just lagged. Just go out and come back in again is a simple solution. I know that's a bit of an IT response, but it does work. So we've got a couple of minutes to get back. Welcome to those that are coming back again. As you return to the chat box, we of course want to know what you have, what drink you got during the break. I think there was a few teas coming up there, a bit of water with it. So feel free to share with us. Katie's always interested in what people get during the break. And of course, we've been chatting about the Teachers Club. So if you're not a member of the Teachers Club, then follow the link that Katie put in the chat box a second ago and get yourself registered. As Paul said, yeah, in the second half of the session, there'll be some Q&A. So do put some, if you've got any questions for Edna and Paul, please put them in there. We've got a few coming in so far. Herbal tea, cappuccino, yeah. Ice cream, that's not a drink. I guess it could be an ice cream smoothie or something, but nice. I'm jealous, Rosina. Chocolate, okay, all right. 43 in Islamabad. Okay, I'm bad enough here. It's 23 in Oxford, where I'm coming from. I don't think I would do very well in 43 degrees. Svetlana, a glass of water. That's the best one. A carrot smoothie, far too healthy. Carrot smoothies. What an audience! Like mint teas and a cuppa. Well done, Angelique. Okay, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. If you are coming, joining us, taking your seat, we're about to get underway with part 2 of our engaging the youngest, putting a smile on children's faces. And I would certainly say that so far I have been engaged, and I might not be a child, but I've had a smile on my face listening to Paul and Edna speak. Just before I hand over to them again, remember we are recording. The recording's still going. And while you don't see the chat box in the recording, anything you do put in the chat box is recorded into the system. So do be aware of that. Those of you who might have joined in after we had begun, a reminder that there is a recording. As I've just said, we are recording, and it will be available to you after the session at some point. We usually say, 5 days or so to get through the admin of this, of these things, and that's when you'll get the certificate as well. Ronaldo, I'm glad you're back. We can continue now. So you will get a certificate. It will be sent to you in a post-webinar email, and other things like the handout, etc., will be made available to you there as well. Although I will release the handout at the end of the session for those of you that can get it. So we are recording. We are giving certificates. You are to, if you've got questions for Paul and Edna, then put them into the Q&A. Otherwise, continue with the chat box. And I believe we left it with Paul having created, what was it, a hare? I think it was a hare, wasn't it? And Edna having created a rabbit. So shall we find out what they intend to do with them? So Paul, Edna, back to you two, and let's go on with part 2 of the session. Hi, Paul. Edna, you're there.
Hello.
Hi, Edna. Over to you two again.
So,
Brilliant.
here we are.
I have to admit, I improved my skills.
Oh my goodness, I can't beat that. I was having a cup of ginger tea. So you have improved your skills. My goodness, Edna.
Okay.
I can't beat you.
Can you show your origami? Okay, so I'm going to use this one because I think it is cute. Okay.
It's very cute. Yeah.
I'm going to ask people to write in the chat box differences that they can see from my origami to your origami? I think it's not a very interesting question, but let's try our best. Yeah. So
Well,
rabbit hair remind me of the mad hair. Oh yeah, for sure. Alice in the Wonderwood, for sure. For me too. Yes, absolutely. Yes. And you, Paul, you were commenting about the idea of the ears. So that's why I have two differences here. The colors of the ears. Yes, very good. Yes.
I'll leave my rabbit.
Don't do
Because
that. I want to see. Yes,
I'm embarrassed.
I'm going to pick up.
You've done such a great job. I'm embarrassed. But yes. Dr. Ram Gopal says a dog and a cat. Well, that's perhaps you just joined us after the break.
Very
whiskers,
good.
yes, whiskers and teeth, both are cute. Thank you, Lubika. I'm happy to know that they're both cute. So anyway, we've got these two.
Anyway, I think that here we have something really important. Yes,
we do.
We allow children to have their own productions, and then they can see some differences. We are trying just to highlight the idea of the ears, but probably we have much more differences between a rabbit and a hare. Yeah, but the point is we want children to understand there are differences. And we want to talk about the hair, because if we see our slide now, let's go to our slide right now. Can we click here? Yes, let's do it. So if we go to our slide right now, we are going to see this. I'm going to come back a little. We are going to see this story, and probably you know a little about this character. Oops. And this character here. Look at this. Look what I've done. I'm going to show you.
It's a fable, a Greek fable involving.
You see the other origami that I have here?
Yes, that's a tortoise.
Yes, the tortoise. Yes.
The tortoise and the hare, the old Greek story. Love it.
Yes, very good. And as Paul mentioned before our break,
indeed.
We have the handout, and the handout we have a link from a free website for you to know how to work with those origamis if you want to go a little bit more. Yes, mine, hare and tortoise. Okay, so one day or once upon a time, yes, hare. Let me put it here. Hare, yes, and tortoise are in the park. They are in the park. Okay, very good. Let me put here the second part of the story. They are in the park. And then the hare says, I do athletics. I can run fast, says the hare. You can't run fast, said the rat. I don't run. I walk. But I don't stop, says the tortoise.
That's interesting.
Let's have a race! Let's have a race! So the race starts. Rare, the hare runs, and tortoise walks. And then, oh my God. Oh
my heavens,
God.
What happened?
And tortoise is the winner. Well done. But how come? What happened? No, oh my God, Paul, I think, do I sleep? Because, come on, something that's happening. Write in the chat box. What happened in the middle of the story? Because
something went very strange, Edna, because the hare just shot off, but he hasn't won the race. What happened in the story?
Do you have an idea, please? Teachers, ride slow and steady wins the race. Very good message.
Yes.
Very good. Went to the party. It is a possibility.
The hare got lost, Cataline. The hare got lost.
Okay, decided to have a snap.
A nap.
Very good, very good. We have many possibilities.
The tortoise teleported. I love that one. That's a 21st century idea.
Okay, snap, stop, the rabbit is left. And there's a story. We have here the sequence. The hare decided to go to swim a little because it was too hotty.
In this story, it goes to the swimming pool and then has a nap. Yeah. So.
Yeah, so that's the point. Why we have decided to work with origami. This is the page of the book that inspired us. So instead of telling the story, only that, we wanted to use some origami because we do believe that origami builds patience and maybe perseverance and sometimes precision, yeah, Paul, because you were like folding the paper. I do think that with children, it enhances memory, retention. So when I'm folding my papers, it reaches my heart and my mind. So I feel like the satisfaction. I'm doing that. It's done. It is my piece of activity. And this story of the hare and the tortoise talks about perseverance. So
it does.
When
the moral of the story was about
the moral, yeah. So when we can connect it with really hands-on activity with the purpose that we want to achieve, it is a way to engage children a little bit more. It is a way to consider possibilities. Like a simple page can give us lots of opportunities, and that's the point. Not only a simple page, but the way we look at our course books. And here we have a friend that can help us to give more, an energy level to our lessons. Let's change the level of the energy. Let's put the energy level like really up. Our friend. Blue Glue.
And we have Blue Clue, who's looking at problem solving and games. Because games, as we know, are played by children and for children. They're student-centered. They integrate all the linguistic skills and help students learn and retain new vocabulary much more easily. So let's go straight into a game.
Yes, a game.
Thank you,
I
Blue
was
Clue.
just giving a look here in our chat box because we do have the hare is very confident of winning, so it stops during the race. Very good. Daniela says that she works with Frankie, Deez, and Spot. Spot, I love Spot. Deezy, the ballerine, so I love it too. Yeah, so we do have our favorite characters, and when we have the possibility to connect to the ideas that they bring in our lessons, like they are part of our lessons. Yeah, I have very good stories with our characters and our puppets. That's great. But let's have some games right now. And I love games. I love competition in a very good way.
Just before, I'd like to point out, Elizabeth says a key takeaway for her is look at our course books in a different way. Thank you, Elizabeth. That's exactly
Thank you. Wonderful.
what we were
I'm going
looking
to
at.
Amazing. Very good.
So,
very
game time. Are we gonna play heads up?
Heads up. I love heads up. I think that many people in the world knows heads up because it is a popular TV game. And sometimes we have to give a look in our TVs, to see that if I can use this in my lesson, okay? I'm going to give you an explanation, Paul, and I want you people are writing the chat. Yes, I want to play. I'm going to give you a really fast explanation. And if you have questions, please let me know. Yeah, just to give the step-by-step of the heads up game. Can I?
Yeah, quickly, because time, we've got so many things we want to share. Let's do it quickly.
Yes, of course. But what we have to tell teachers here is we have prepared beforehand some labels, and then we are going to pose the labels in front of our forehead, and then you are going to give me instructions for me to guess the word that I have here. So, but Paul, you cannot say directly the name of the word that I'm holding here, and you cannot spell it out. Yeah, you cannot spell. And if you do not have enough vocabulary, you can mime. Yeah, but I'm not going to look because I'm going to close your eyes. Otherwise, I'm going to see the answers in front of the camera. So here, I'm going to do like that because I want the activity to be like difficult and authentic. And I'm not looking at the camera. Please, Paul, give me the instructions.
Okay, well, to describe this, basically, it's a musical instrument that you blow into, and it produces a range of notes. Some
The
of
flute?
these.
Is it the flute?
Got it.
Okay,
Well
very
done.
good. The other one.
This is another musical instrument. This time it's made of wood. You hold it on your lap
The
with
cello,
the left hand. With the
guitar.
left hand. All right, you got it. Next. Percussion instrument with sticks.
Oh, the drums. I love the drums. Woohoo!
Another percussion instrument, but this time it's black and white, and you play with your hands.
The piano.
The piano, yes, but what do you touch with your fingers?
The keyboard. The keyboard.
To play the piano, you touch the keyboard. Well done. Got it.
Good. Very good. Very good. So I've got 4 here. Very good.
Right.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
I'm going to have a quick go.
Thank you, Sean. All the time I forget to advise you about the cameras. Thank you a lot. Cameras again. Yes.
So wait a minute. Before the cameras, just to show what we've done, we've taken from Bright Ideas, we've taken some vocabulary, and a good way of revising it is to do this heads up activity. And now we're going to do another one. This time it's my turn, Edna. Sean, cameras, and let's go. I haven't seen what I've got here.
Oh my God, mine is difficult.
I've got my eyes closed. What is it?
When you are decoding or deciphering a question in mathematics, and you want to solve.
Solution. Solving a problem.
Very good, very good. The other one, I almost said solve.
Okay, let's see. Here's another one.
When you are in your PE lessons and your teacher asks you to go up in a thick string.
To go up?
Yeah.
Climb?
Yeah.
Like a spring. Climbing a rope. Climbing
very
ropes.
Good. Very good. Very good.
Okay, I've got another one.
Oh my God. When you want to explore your creativity, when you want to explore your creativity, you are doing what?
When you want to explore your imagination, you're using your imagination.
Using your imagination. Very good. Very good. The other one.
Whoa. Oh, I've got one more.
Oh, okay. Oh my God. When you want to make marks like graphemes and to represent the letters, what we're doing? Okay. Similar composition, like a narrative, a description. You are writing with characters. You are writing what?
That's a story. So you're writing stories.
Very good. Oh, come on. Mine were difficult. More difficult than yours.
Thank you, Sean. They were more difficult because they're actions. We chose actions this time. Rather than single words, we've chosen actions. And we've got some more actions here, but I don't think we've got time to practice them with the...
I think that the most important here is if you teachers are working online, it is important to imagine the scenario. Maybe I can hold, me as a teacher, I'm going to hold the cards. I'm not going to look because, we can see ourselves in front of the camera. And learners, children, they can open their mic, they can talk. For me, I like to have this kind of disturbing a little, but if you do not feel comfortable, you can organize your classroom management the way you feel more comfortable, but they can open their mic and they can give you the instructions. And then teacher, you have to guess. You can use this type of activity as a warmer if learners know the vocabulary, maybe revision. Yeah, Paul, something more that you can imagine with this type of activity?
Yeah, it could also be activating schemata, activating ideas. They may not get the guesses right, but at least you're starting there using right and left brain. You're starting the process of getting students to think about a topic area.
Very good.
Then we go into the topic area. So we can use it for activating schemata.
Oh, I have another point here really fast. I think that this type of activity, allow children to take some risks in classroom, because sometimes, especially
Indeed.
if you're working online, we keep like, open your mic, talk to me. But if you give this type of challenge, maybe they can feel comfortable about opening their mic and take part of the lesson just because it is engaging. Very good.
So building self-confidence is very important as well.
Who's the winner?
Moving
There is no
on.
winner. Oh my God, no. I'm the type of person that likes competition. Card games. I love card games. Card games.
Right, card games. We move on to card games to help students talk and play. For reading and speaking skills, expand students' vocabulary. What kind of game you got in mind here, Edna? Shall we have a look?
I'm gonna show a moment. I am going to show you. So now it's my control, okay? So you're going to be my volunteer, okay?
Oh, I'm your
Of course,
volunteer, right?
we have lots of possibilities to produce online card games. So it is important to remind that we have very good websites, open websites that we can create online card games. We have some suggestions in our handout. So if you by the end of the session, please do not forget to have these this type of recommendations that we have. Now, Paul, I have decided to prepare something really simple, okay? It is like this one. So the idea is I want me as a teacher, let's imagine that I wanted to revise the content, or I want to pick up all the content in my unit, whatever my unit is, and I want to elaborate some questions to check and to have some evidence of learning from my learners. So this is a possibility to do this way. I'm going to have like some cards, and then you can call the card. I'm going to open the card, and you have to answer. Or we can divide into a group of students is going to ask, and the other are going to answer. The other students are going to answer. So that's the point. It's your turn, Paul.
Okay, I'll go for B to begin. B for begin.
B for beginning. Okay, so that's the question. I'm going to read. I'm going to be your partner. What time do you usually get up at weekends?
Shall I answer this? Yes.
Yes.
I usually get up at the same time as during the week.
Very good. So here we can see if the student that is asking the question has a very good pronunciation, or at least the pronunciation we believe they should have. The other one that is answering the question can organize different answers. Okay, very good. Another one here. Can you call another letter?
J.
J, very good. J, and then we can work with the spelling J-D. Okay, very good.
Okay, what
type of music do you dislike, Paul?
Oh, I think I've finally decided that I don't like military marching bands.
Okay, really specific.
Good answer.
Very good. Now the other one. Call another letter.
One more. All right, I'll go for G because it's similar to J. It's always good to minimal pair to remind students of these two different letters. So I'll go for G.
When do you expect it to become rich? Tell us. All teachers want to know now.
At the end of the webinar.
At the end of the webinar, so please.
At the end of this webinar, I expect to become rich.
Write your email in the chat box, because everybody wants to have a very good, rich friend.
Okay. I'll let you in on a secret. You can contact me and you, Edna, on the Padlet at the end, the exit ticket Padlet.
We're going to have a Padlet. Very good.
We're going to have a Padlet, so we can all be rich together using the Padlet.
So here is the point. We can add some surprising elements. For example, here I have decided to score the questions according to some criteria, maybe according to the level of the question, the difficulty of the question. Yes. So I can score and can be the surprising element at the end. So we always have to understand the purpose. This is an educational purpose. So I have to know what I'm doing in my class. Simple and nice game, no?
Very simple. I love it. And the element of surprise at the end is great because it increases the competitive element.
I have one more activity. Can I share with you?
One more. Yeah, go ahead.
One more, because as you said, I mean, we have here our friend. Our friend is Blue Clue. He introduced us the possibility of working with games. And the game that I want to work with you and with the participants. So please, if you have any piece of paper, I'm going to use my board here. Paul, do you have board, a piece of paper or something like that? Do you have with you?
Yeah, I've got a piece of paper I can use.
Okay, very good, very good. So here's the point. Sometimes we want children to read texts, and just because we have just said, like, can you read? They're going to say, oh, teacher, I don't want to read that. But if you change the possibility of doing that, maybe we can involve them. Here's the point. We are going to have a text here. Let me show the text. This is the text. This is the text here. Here we have lots of words. And imagine that I wanted to, I don't know, I want to revise, I want to introduce, I want to present. I would use it to present. Yes, it's the first time learners are going to see this text. Then I'm going to ask the learners to write in the middle of the paper the word recycle. No, recycle, no, rubbish. Rubbish is better, rubbish.
Yeah, it's all about rubbish, isn't it? The text.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rubbish.
Shall I do that as well? Rubbish.
Please write in the middle of your paper. I have to write because this is a competition. You please, participants, teachers, write in the middle. Very good. Let me write. I'm a little late here.
So I got rubbish. And now I'm looking at the text. Do you want me to make some more words from rubbish?
Please, here we have in the middle of the text, in the middle of my paper, very good. And now I'm going to give like an explanation that I think it's never gonna work. Yes, I want you to look for words that you can connect the words with this main word, like ups and downs. Yeah. Did you understand, Paul?
I think so. I'm looking. There's a recycle I can put here. So you mean like this?
Very good, very good. And then from this word, you can have more words. The winner is the person, learner, teacher that write more words from the text, but you have to connect the letters, okay? You have to connect the letters. Let's have like some minutes, not some minutes, but some seconds to do this activity, like associations. Very good, very good. Let's go,
yeah,
Paul.
We've got, Leslie's got reduce, reuse, recycle. If we could put them into the actual, what do you call this? What's your word? It's not a crossword. What do you call this, Edna?
I used to call, sometimes I used to call word cross. Yes.
A word cross. Yeah. Okay. So I think everybody's got the idea. Shall we show what it looks like?
You're not going to play? Come on, come on.
Oh, come on. Let's because time is we haven't got very much time.
So excited about doing that and show that I'm
the
winner here. But our teachers, friends, they are writing the chat box and they have lots of words to
lots of ideas. So yeah, we've got lots of ideas.
Lots of ideas. You see that all those words are from the text. So this is the most important, interesting. All those words are from the text. It means that learners, maybe they're not looking for meaning. They are looking for words. They just want to connect the words. Yeah. And then after that, I can work with the words. Yeah. So here we have rubbish, we have paper, we have reuse, and we have lots of that. Yeah.
And we can ask our students to generate sentences with the words in the word search, as somebody's already mentioned. Another example of that, Edna, would be to raise schemata.
Yes, so I think that this type of activity, this activity that you are showing and the other one, for me as a teacher, is a type of game that improve vocabulary and spelling. Yes, and we can work with a teaching technique that we have in class. Like when we are reading, we ask learners to scan the text. So this is an idea to scan the text. For example, here we have another text, not the same text. Here we have another text. What is this text about? What is the next reading topic about? What do you think?
We've got east, we've got west, we've got the sun.
Yes, I'm going to drink some water here. Let me see if they are going to give the idea of the next text.
Disappeared. That's interesting. What disappears, I wonder? East and west and the sun would make me think of a day. We've got the word day there. So I think the text might be about the sun moving from the east in the morning, setting in the west. It disappears. Something like that, about time.
Yeah, something about time, something like that. Absolutely.
Day and night time, says
Day
Rabia.
And night time. Another person wrote planet disappear, time and earth, directions. Very good. So this is a way to introduce about time. So this is a way to introduce this text. Let me show you the original text. The words that I have just shown are from this text. So here we can see it's what time is it now, and they're going to talk about time zones and something like that. Yes, maybe.
This is quite a deep text because it's looking at the beginning of time, and people told the time not with their watches.
Yes.
Not with their laptops or their mobile phones, but how did they tell the time, Edna?
Yes. So with the sun. So
with the sun. Yeah.
Yes. And this is really interesting to have the discussion just because we introduce it in a different way, the words that we want them to scan. Very good point here. We have more activities to present, and now we are going to talk really fast.
The time is running out, so let's move on quickly. Getting children speaking
Gus wants to talk
in the classroom.
Yes, but
communication is vital. So Gus is really intensely waiting for his turn to tell us about communicative activities in the classroom. And Gus makes a point here, Edna. He says what a child says can also give useful feedback about how the child feels at school or even at home. What is he talking about there? He's quoting Vanessa Riley and Ward.
Yes.
And I from the book Very Young Learners.
And I love it, Vanessa Riley, when she wrote, communication is vital part of the learning process.
Yeah.
And you see, I reduced the pace of my voice because I want you teachers to consider, give a look that if we tell children they can only speak in English, it is as good as telling them to be quiet. Because they have to have a reason for communication. We cannot say no, in English more than it. We have to involve them. We are teachers. We are able to do that. So let's do it.
So we go back to L1 again. We mentioned this in the first part, didn't we? We mentioned that the use of L1 is very important for young children. When learning English.
Yes, very good. So let's have these communicative activities. Activities. Yes or no, yes or no. Let's play yes or no.
Okay. And this is all about my birthday.
Okay, so let's imagine that I want to introduce a topic, to start a new unit, any unit, yes?
Okay.
And I want learners to talk to me, but I'm kind of tired to have those answers. Yes, teacher. No, teacher. Yes, teacher. I want something more.
So we can't say yes or no.
I'm going to ask you questions, and you cannot answer yes or no using a very fast warm-up. Okay? So can I start, Bo?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I'm the winner now.
Oh! You got me.
Okay,
my turn. Do you like art or music or drama?
I like art.
What kind of art do you like?
I like painting.
You said you like drawing.
Painting.
Is that right?
Painting. I said painting.
Okay. And how often do you paint?
Every week.
Why every week?
Because it is important for me to develop skills.
I see. You said it's important. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Aha. And as it's important, I'm never going to win this. You've got me already.
Okay, so that's the point.
So well done,
Sometimes
Edna. Well done. You've completely flummoxed me, and I can't do it. I can't even think of questions. But if we look back, Sean, if we could look at the slides again.
Yes.
The idea is we've got all about my birthday. It's a communicative task where we guess. We've got the names of the children and their birthdays, and we ask the kids to make statements about their birthdays, and they guess whose birthday it is. That's fine, but also using yes, no about birthdays would be fantastic, as indeed my attempt at asking Edna about art, music, poetry, which I didn't talk about, or dance, which I didn't mention either.
Okay.
But there we go. Well done, Edna. Excellent. Well done.
Very good. Very good. And sometimes
number
with
one,
the
Edna, number one. What's this?
Oh yeah. Sometimes with the little ones, we can have like very good speaking activities. Instead of
So let's have
asking
it.
children,
Let's do it. Let's do it, Edna. Number one.
Let's do it. I'm going to say the number, the color, and we have to say the opposite. Say the number. Oh, we are in a hurry. Say the number or the color. Say Paul.
1.
Red. Green.
3. 5.
Orange. 9. 9.
5.
Purple.
Thank you. Brown.
8. Pink.
7. 4.
Orange. Green.
3.
I don't know why when you say the color, my brain tends to say the color. When you say the number, my brain tends to say it's kind of, but it's interesting. The message here. Sometimes we have our book page, something like that. Very beautiful, very organized with colors, numbers, and in this case, animals. So instead of asking children to repeat the numbers, to repeat the colors, if they are able to do that, give them a little extra challenge. Ask them to play like in reverse, like say the color, say the number, and then it is, for me, was difficult, but okay, I think that is all about my brain. But that's the point.
It's left and right brain. It's great. It's a very nice holistic way of getting children to disassociate to associate.
Yeah, another way to allow children to speak more in class, of course, we have to sing with them. Are you ready to sing? And what I want to say all the time, when we have like action songs, they help us a lot, yes? Even online, why can't you use like a little bit more space and then you can like, have the vibe and say, 1, stand up. Go pose.
2, and stretch.
Yeah. 3, stamp your feet.
4, cross your legs.
5, sit down.
6, scratch your nose.
7, and shout. Ah!
Time. Yeah, lots of things we can do online to keep our children not so young, even older, and teenagers as well, to keep them engaged, to get them up, to activate a little bit a sleepy, tired
Yes, yes. And
person.
it is important. It is important to say that even online, come on, give you a little of space, and then
Exactly.
children they
Yeah,
want to.
and we change the air around us. It becomes full of negative ions, which are really useful, make you feel happy. So we come to Tex, your favorite, right?
Yes, because Tex, he has a shell in his back, and he carries
Yeah,
everything he needs, all types of tools. And I think that we have tools for this part of the session that is almost ending.
it is almost, unfortunately. We're coming towards the end, and well, let's have a look at these practical ideas. Edna.
Yes, we have a handout. I don't know, Sean, I think that we can share right now, is it? Tell me. But in our handout, we have decided to organize more ideas from everything that we have tried to present today. Besides, we are going to have reading and writing suggestions, pre-primary and primary. Remember, this webinar was everything connected to children. Online game, one very good online game about the letter recognition, especially now that we have to understand children are learning from home sometimes. We have some quiz and science led website for indications, yeah, and one activity about ordering, counting, and more origamis and everything that we
There's
have.
lots in the handout. Just as Katie's pointed out in the chat, you need to click on the handout tab at the top right-hand side at the top of your screen, and you can download it from there. It will also be available with the recording, so don't worry if you miss it. There's also, we've seen the Oxford Teachers. There was a banner popping up during the break about the Oxford Teachers Club. If you want to join it, we recommend you do. There's plenty of ideas there. And just before we go on to the Padlet, which is your exit ticket, tell us about bouncy balls, Edna.
I love bouncing ball. So please, if you have never checked this website, give a look. It is a free classroom indication, okay, that has like a noise monitor. And it works, it helps us to work with the class management because it reacts to sounds from our microphone in the computer. So if you are working online, it is a very good suggestion for classroom management.
So check out, but is it bouncyballs.com? It's in the handout, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and now we come to Q&A, and just before we finish, I'd like to pop up, if we could, Sean, we have an exit ticket feedback time. It's a Padlet. Post your comments on our Padlet. We will be continuing after the webinar on the Padlet. It'll be open for a few days. If you could post the URL Sean's just posted it there on the chat box. He's posting it constantly. If you have a QR code reader, you can use your mobile and take a QR code shot, and that'll take you straight to the Padlet. But just before we look at the Padlet, let's go to Q&A. We have a lot of questions in the Q&A. First question from Nasser says, there are 7 cognitive strategies of reading skills for effective readers: activating, inferring, monitoring, clarifying, questioning, searching, selecting, summarizing, and visualizing, organizing. So my question is, Nasser says, what do you think about activating? I think we've already dealt with activating vocabulary, haven't we? Edna, we've looked at origami to activate with puppets, a story. We've looked at the rage. We've looked at the gorilla image to activate the idea of rage. So I think we've already dealt with that. Another question here on reading from Carmen. In extensive reading, we ask literal questions. My question, says Carmen, is can I include inferential questions? And the answer is yes, of course you can. Inference, like the breakfast, may not be actually part of the text. So students can, when I say the breakfast, I'm referring to Phineas Fogg. Edna said she inferred from the picture that it would be an English breakfast. So I think there's your answer there. Next question. What? Oh, it's moving. It's popping up again. That story is for starters, isn't it? Yeah, it's an A1 level story.
Yeah.
And what should a teacher do if students only use the mother tongue? Edna, what can you tell us about that?
Yeah, sometimes I do think that we try our best, and children, they want to, challenge us, and they keep on using their mother tongue. So I think
Yeah.
that if it happens, it's all about something about classroom management. So we just have to insist on doing the best way, because in a certain moment, this specific child is going to get engaged to the activity. But what I have to do is keep ourselves being creative all the time. That's the way we can talk to people, all types of, including children. Yeah, so that's the point.
Yeah, I think L1, we should never forget L1,
Yeah.
especially if we're with a group who are Spanish speakers, for example, Portuguese speakers, and we speak Portuguese or Spanish, then there's every reason to use it. But I think we also have to, a bit like with children when they're used to drinking milk, they can't drink milk all their lives. They have to slowly be weaned off the milk and use more of the L2. Katia has an interesting question about online classes for just one kid. Katia, if I am doing an online class for one child, I have puppets with me and I invent characters. And when we're looking at stories, you can discuss how Phineas feels at a certain time if the story is around the world in 80 days, and you can discuss the characters, and you can ask your student to then give a response about how that character would respond. So stories are really important for classes with small groups or just one child.
Yeah.
Yasmin.
Yeah, Yasmin said, is it effective for students with learning difficulties? Yes, specifically because they are able to show what they can do at that moment. So it's much more about us to embrace their production while they are working with us. That's a really good way to work with students with learning difficulties. Okay. The other one, Natalia, please, Paul.
Okay, I'm just checking the Padlet. We're getting a lot of responses, and we will be dealing with those in a moment. Finally, let's see. What are movement games to boost a vocabulary? Natalia, that's an interesting question. Movement games depends on the level of the children. But again, these are games that involve imagination, and in short, movement games are. Have a look on the Padlet. We've got a game here that children are playing with articles of clothing. There's a link there. This Padlet is filling up very quickly, which is great news. Thank you for your question, Natalia. Last question from Marta. Would you like to take it, Edna?
How do you deal with mixed ability groups? In general, should we focus on vocabulary in more depth before starting activities?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But there is a point here. We can work with vocabulary when we have mixed abilities, but not only this. Yeah, I think that when you were mentioned, Paul, about CLIL activities that deal with different areas of content, I think that can also help to answer this question. What do you think, Paul?
Yes. The activities themselves, if they're engaging, then mixed activities will, in primary, children will actually benefit from each other. They will learn and collaborate and learn from and with each other. And I think we need to nurture that. I think the more they learn together, rather than always looking at you, the teacher, it improves their learning to learn. Which is really important. You know, we've run out of time, so I'm going to have to just say, well, thank you, everybody. I'm looking at the Padlet now and getting some lovely responses. There are questions coming up all over the place, and obviously,
yes, I'm giving a look here too in the Padlet.
I'm going to we're going to try and answer these questions. In the meantime, I'd like to thank you for your posts, and we'd like to thank you for participating in this webinar. Right, Edna? It was great fun. I'd like to thank you too.
I would like
Very
to thank
enjoyable.
everyone. It was amazing, this experience to share with you all over the world. We are everybody's in different countries, different realities, but we are always together. Thanks a lot to be with me and with us. That's it, Paul.
I'm afraid so. And it's almost 11 o'clock here in Dubai. It's time for my bedtime.
Time for your bedtime,
Bye for
Paul.
now, guys.
Thank you. Thank you so much to both of you for that webinar. I'm sure everybody is, as you can see, saying a lot of thank yous. And if they could give you a round of applause, they would. Just to remind people, I know some of you are having trouble downloading the handout. That's to be expected. It won't download for everyone, so we will. It will be included in the follow-up email. Paul, can you mute your mic, please? So you will get the follow-up email. It will probably be about 5 days, and in 5 days' time you'll get the email, and in that email there will be a link to a PDF of the slides. There will be a link to the handout. You can get it, but if you can get it, and get it from there, and also there'll be a link to print a certificate out for your attendance. So we're now playing a competition of who's up the latest. So Paul's up at 11 o'clock and Annie's up at 1:53. So as we say good night to you all, so thank you for joining us. Safa, as I just said, you'll get an email in about 5 days' time if you can't download the handout now, and it will come to you. Some people can't download the handout. For example, if you're on a mobile device, you won't be able to download it, but it will be sent to you. I'm sure it will be covered on the Padlet anyway if you've got the link that Paul and Edna gave you. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that is it. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks again to Paul and Edna for, I think we can honestly say, truly engaging us and putting a smile on our faces. Some really, really fun activities. And I just had so much fun listening to them both for the last couple of hours. So thank you very much, Edna. Thank you very much, Paul. And of course, thank you all for joining us. And we'll see you next time at the next webinar. Goodbye for now, and have a good evening.